I don't know if you could all hear that, but the recording is on. And with that, I would like to call this meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Northeast to order. It is January 9th, 2025, 7 o'clock. And I would like to ask everyone to join in a pledge of allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
For which it
stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tilly, could you please conduct a roll call?
Yes. Supervisor Cannon,
Here.
Councilman Morrison. Here. Councilman Fideli,
Here.
Councilman Winkler. Here. Councilman Mayville.
Here.
Okay, thank you. The agenda for the meeting has been distributed and posted. I do have one additional item which I would like to add to the agenda, and that is a letter of support, a request for a letter of support for ADU development that we received from Hudson River Housing. And it's a very small item, but I would like to add that to the agenda. So with that, I'm going to ask for a motion to accept the agenda. But before I do that, I would just note that since I am attending this remotely, I can conduct the meeting, but I am not allowed to vote. So I've asked Tilly just to poll those people who are present. So I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
With that amendment, I approve. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
All in favor?
All right.
Okay, thank you. Some comments from across town. First of all, it has been noted, and I'm very aware of it, that COVID cases are up. It's been 5 years, almost 5 years since the COVID epidemic or pandemic hit us. Seems like a long time ago, but COVID is still around. It seems less threatening than it was. I have a mild case, I'm happy to report, but it is around, and everybody should be aware of that. On a sad note, in the past few days, we were notified of the passing of former town justice John Cradell. John Cradell served as a town justice for many years and was a member of the town family. I believe his funeral is actually, or the wake for his funeral is actually this evening. And I would like to ask for a moment of silence to note the passing of former town justice John Cradell. Thank you. Next, and I see that that our attorney has arrived. Hello, Warren, from a distance. And I have already mentioned that while I'm allowed to conduct the meeting, I will not be voting on anything tonight. And so we'll just rely on you to keep us on the straight and narrow. At our reorganization meeting, there were a couple of things which took place, which I wanted to mention because there are a number of people who were not able to attend the reorganization meeting. Julie Schroeder has stepped down as chair of the ZBA after many years of service in that role. I'm happy to say that she will continue on as a member of the ZBA. And her knowledge of zoning is really quite unparalleled, I think, in this town. I certainly appreciate the insights and the experience that she brings to the ZBA. And I'm glad that she's able to stay on the committee. And we will welcome Edie to this role and look forward to working with her on a number of things. Speaking of Edie, the town board will begin working on amendments to our zoning code. These are amendments that have been prepared and worked on by the zoning review committee over the past 4 years. Our first workshop meeting will be on Tuesday, January 21 at 5 p.m. I am grateful to Edie for her willingness to help guide us through the work of the ZRC. It will be a public meeting. Everyone is very welcome to attend. We're not sure where it will be because we also have court that night, but it will either be here or at the library annex. I wanted to note that we are also, from the reorg meeting, 2 other items. One is that we are welcoming Katie Cariello as secretary to the planning board for meetings. I believe she is with you tonight. She will be working closely with Lorna Sherman, who provides that role at Town Hall. And we are welcoming Katie to the Town Hall family and look forward to working with you going forward. One other item from the reorg or the reorganization meeting is that the town board did take the opportunity to review and look over and amend the guidelines for procedure, the rules of procedure, particularly the guidelines for public comment. And I'm going to take the opportunity to read them. They're mostly exactly as they were, but just for the record. As a courtesy extended by the town board, members of the public may speak during the meeting's public comment period and at such other time as the presiding officer permits. The first public comment period, as previously stated, shall be limited to comments on agenda items only. The public comment period at the conclusion of the meeting is reserved for general comments and concerns. Speakers must be recognized by the presiding officer. Speakers must give their name, municipal residence, and organization, if any. Speakers must limit their remarks to 5 minutes. Speakers may not yield any remaining time they may have to another speaker. Board members may, with the permission of the presiding officer, interrupt a speaker during their remarks, but only for the purpose of clarification or information. All remarks must be addressed to the board as a body and not to individual board members. Speakers must observe the commonly accepted rules of courtesy, decorum, dignity, and good taste. Interested parties or their representatives may address the board in person or by written communication. Playing of audio or video recorded material is not permitted. The next item on my list is that I attended earlier this week, I attended the first meeting of the Dutchess County Supervisors and Mayors Association. We had a very full attendance for pretty much all of the supervisors and mayors from the county. The focus was on EMS issues, and there's been a lot going on with the county on EMS. It doesn't immediately affect the town of Northeast. As you know, we have signed a new contract with Northern Dutchess paramedics to make sure that we have coverage here. But there is a lot of attention being given by the county to this role. I have pointed out to the other mayors and supervisors the burden which our contract puts on the town of Northeast in particular. I think it is the highest burden on a per capita basis of any town in the county. And it has something to do with the fact that we have relatively few calls per day. And it's a big geographic area to cover. Warren has been working closely with me and with the supervisors of Dover and Amenia on this. I know that we're looking forward to making some additional tweaks to the contract, although not any tweaks to the amount of the payments to NDP. But in addition to everything that's going on, the county has had quite a bit of turnover at EMS. Sean, the acting commissioner of emergency management was Sean Costanza, and he has now resigned as well. Bill Beal is now the acting commissioner for emergency services, and he attended this meeting that I went to, and I have communicated with him directly about the situation that we face here. I intend to bang this drum as loudly as I can bang it, because the burden on the residents of the town of Northeast is just, it's not fair. It's not fair compared with all the other towns in Dutchess County. So I will come back to the board with updates on what we're able to do about that, but it is something that I tend to stay very focused on. Speaking of the county, this is an interesting item. The county has passed a local law number 2 of 2024. I think we're all going to be hearing about this local law that they passed last year. And I'm just reading to you from what is on the county's website, but Dutchess County recently passed local law number 2 of 2024 entitled Regulating Hazardous Pollution Sources in Proximity to Public Water Supply Sources, Aquifers, and Wetlands. And the key features of the local law are that it establishes restrictions to protect residents' water supply sources by prohibiting certain contaminant sources within separation distances to public water supply wells, wetlands, and aquifers, as defined by the law. Prohibit the drilling of new public water supply wells within certain separation distances to certain contaminant sources. There's a long rollout of this law. It does not become effective until next year at some point. There are going to be public information workshops for them to explain to residents what is in this. I would say that, just speaking in a summary way, it may affect gas stations and dry cleaning establishments more than anything else. But it's going to be something that you're going to hear about in this coming year. I want to make note of the work of the Conservation Advisory Committee on putting together a list of invasive species of plants. The CAC has really done a wonderful job of compiling what the current thinking is about invasive species and species that we should be encouraging. They've spent a lot of time doing a lot of research. This is a list that I think is going to be very helpful to the building department and to the planning board as they do their work. And I would just really like to take this opportunity to thank the CAC for their work. They did a lot of work on this. On a very happy note, and this is kind of an amazing story. The town of Northeast received a transfer from New York State today of $29,800, which was reimbursement for the climate smart actions that we took, I'm going to say 5 or maybe even 6 years ago, when we applied for our role as a climate smart community. We undertook 3 separate actions, which we have completed a very, very long time ago, and which we entitled us to these grants. So this is great. It took a ridiculously long time to get it, but we did. And I want to thank the Climate Smart Communities Task Force and Kathy Chow in particular, who worked very closely with Lorna Sherman to bird dog this with the state of New York. It was not easy. We went through multiple changes of personnel at New York State, and we finally got our money. Bob Stevens will be presenting the 284 agreement to you all. This is a form which is required by New York State each year and which lists the activities which the Highway Department will be undertaking during the year. Also, on speaking about the highway garage, we have put out an RFP to complete the fencing around the highway garage. We have extended the due date for bids to next Thursday. There's been quite a bit of interest in this bid. I believe Bob told me that 5 different potential contractors have actually come up to the highway garage to look at where the fence will be. I think the timing for this is great. We're in the wintertime, and as long as they can install the fence in the wintertime, this is a time when many contractors don't have as much work. So I'm hoping that we're going to get some very competitive bids for the completion of the fence. We have received a grant from Dutchess County towards the completion of the fence. So this is something that should be done at little to no cost to the town. Lastly, I'm happy to report that the mold issues which have manifested at our new town hall building on Route 22 have been completely resolved. The building is now clean, and we look forward to getting to work on it very soon. Thank you very much for that. And now we will turn to department and committee reports. First is Highway Department, Bob Stevens.
I have prepared a 284 agreement for the board to consider. I'm looking to have section 1 approved this evening. General repairs, the sum of $240,000. And after the New York State budget is approved, I'll be back to have section 2 approved.
Great. I think that's helpful because I recall that we approved a 284 agreement somewhere in the middle of last year, and I had not remembered that we actually approved one at the beginning of the year as well. So this is for general work that you have going forward, and then when the CHIPS money comes through, you'll have a better idea of what additional work you can do. Is that roughly correct?
That's correct.
So would you like to ask for a motion to approve the 284 agreement?
Yes, I would.
Would somebody like to make that motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I do a roll call on this?
You may.
So Councilwoman Morrison,
Aye.
Councilman Fideli,
Aye.
Councilman Winkler,
Aye.
Councilman Mayville. Thank you.
Thank you, Tilly. Thank you, Bob. Anything else from the Highway Department to report?
That's all I have for this evening.
What does the weather look like for the next few weeks?
Maybe Saturday, possibly a little bit of snow. They're not really sure of the track of the storm yet, but, we may see a couple inches on Saturday. Then it looks quiet and cold for a week or so after that.
Okay, well, that's good. I trust that our stockpiles of sand and salt are holding up.
It's we're in very good shape.
Good. As the board will recall, we signed a contract with Dutchess County, which calls for the town to plow certain county roads in the town. And we re-upped with this agreement this year. And so obviously, the more days that we have in which we don't have a ton of plowing to do is very beneficial for the town. Okay, I believe the assessor is not there. Tilly, I think you have distributed reports from the planning, zoning, and building departments to the
Yes.
board.
Yes.
Okay.
I wanted to say something for the town clerk.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
That the 2025 tax warrant has been received and it's been posted. And that all the town and county tax bills will be mailed from our office on the 15th of this month, next Wednesday.
Okay. I'm sure everybody will be just breathlessly waiting by their mailbox.
You wouldn't believe it.
Yeah. All right. Anything else from either the town clerk or the tax collector?
No.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Town board committees. This might be a good time for the housing committee, Meg, for you to say, to refer to the ADU item that we have on the agenda tonight.
Yeah, so as mentioned, in one of our last meetings, a couple of them, there is a program now in the state called the Plus One ADU program. This is an initiative to address housing affordability and availability. And so, in different parts, it's a 5-year plan that's part of Governor Hochul's budget with 85 million, and this year it's coming to the third round that's ending in January. Usually there is a supporting agent to really administrator to do this program. And Hudson River Housing has stepped up to offer it for folks in Dutchess County to work directly with municipalities. They've reached out to because of our interest in our area through the Tri-Town Housing Coalition, they've, and the help of Chris Drago, have reached out to Pine Plains, the town in Northeast, and also Stanfordville under Chris Drago's to help administer this. We as a municipality have to give them Hudson River Housing a letter of interest to help facilitate this process, and they've given Chris 2 templates, one being for areas that already have existing zoning that allow for ADU, which in our code we call accessory buildings, and it's not coined ADU yet until we change it. We allow for that, and the other templates for those municipalities who are working towards it. So we fall under template 1. And the deadline is the 14th for the supervisor to give one of these letters back to Hudson River Housing. So we're not quite sure if really for this round we'll be able to do outreach to our community, to people who want to apply for this, but all the residents would need to be of a certain income level, middle to lower income level, and they can build an ADU and or fix one up that exists. And the loan and the grant is for $125,000 per individual if they apply. But I'm not, with this timing, I don't think we'll make round 3, but at least we'll be in the queue to start the next round. So with that, Chris, if anyone has any questions, welcome to ask.
I think it's I think this is a good step forward. ADUs are sort of the low-hanging fruit on expanding housing opportunities in our community, which does not have a wastewater system at the moment. So people who have garage apartments or who have, other units in their house, which could turn into an ADU, this will down the road. And as Meg said, I don't think this is going to result in any grants in the town right away, but it does put us in the queue. It does register as being interested in pursuing this. And so I think it's a good step forward. With that, since we're on that right now, I would like to, unless there is any further comment or questions, I'd like to ask for a motion to authorize the town supervisor to sign this letter of support for, to Hudson River Housing for ADU development.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I'm not voting, but thank you. And this letter will be put on, town letterhead, and it will go out on Monday. The next, I don't know whether there are any other committee reports. I don't know whether we have any communications report or cemetery report. But if not, we can just keep going.
Starting the year.
Okay, all right. The next item on our agenda is we've received a request for a water district hookup. And I believe that we have people at the meeting tonight who would like to speak about that. The town board is interested in hearing about this. These people have requested to appear before the town board, and we welcome that. We'll look forward to hearing from you. We probably will not be making any decisions about your request tonight, but I will promise you that we will be getting together and dealing with it in an expeditious way, hopefully, very, very quickly within the next few days. But with that, why don't you introduce yourselves, and we look forward to hearing about your project.
Thank you, Supervisor Kennedy, and thank you, board members. I'm Donald Capolino, Capolino Rosso Benegan law firm down in Pauling on the southeast corner of the county.
You might have to speak up a little bit too. If you want to step in, maybe.
My apologies.
No.
If you, I will speak up as much as I can here.
Okay.
I thank you for this opportunity to speak with you. I submitted a letter on November 26th. I'd just like to review the items that I discussed in that letter and tell you, and we brought some of the graphics a little bit easier to see than the document that we submitted, so that you can see something that I think is something that's good for everybody involved here. I don't see any real negatives at all here. So what we have here is within the town district is lot number 20 of a subdivision that's been approved by the planning board some time ago.
Yeah,
And-
could you tell us, just remind us of what street this is on?
Okay, this is on Gay Road.
I want to just pass this along first.
Hmm? Okay, so this is
Just an overview of.
Okay, so I'll hold one up, but I can pass these on so that you can perhaps look at it. This is the overall water district here, and on the overall water district, this property is located. So,
Yeah, I'll go through this a little bit, and getting information from
the lots number 19 and 20 up here, this is Gay Road here, and then the Country View, subdivision, is involved. So you will see that lot number 20, somebody wants to look at it from the public, if they can follow me. But, lot number 20 is within within the district because there is a water main going down Gay Road through here. So it is part of the district and it's a vacant lot, but they've been paying their taxes for some time. Our client, TJ Home Builders Inc., owns both 19 and 20. Number 19 is not in the district because it doesn't have direct access to the water main going along Gay Road.
Let me just look at a different map.
Okay, so
Let me just give you a little.
Joe, this is Joseph Zarecki of Zarecki Associates.
Many years ago, and back in about 19, created this subdivision with the town, so I'm kind of familiar with the project, so going back a few years. The subdivision came out beautiful, I think, if you're familiar with Country View Estate, the subdivision, it came out beautiful, and the fellow. On the right side up?
Yep.
Yep, there, so that's right side up. So I think most of the lots have been built on already, and it really looks nice, and so. There, it goes in, there's a horseshoe shape there. Familiar with it, and Gay Road is on this side, and then you got Red Pond Road over here. So along Gay Road, there's an existing 8-inch ductile iron water pipe that's run there. So anybody that's adjacent to it has been permitted to hook up into the ductile iron pipe. So the only two lots that are vacant that TJ Homes bought a few years back are lot 19 and 20. Both of those lots have been approved by the Dutchess County Health Department for the septic system. The septic system, at the time, they had a bill, we put in the septic system for both lots, so they didn't build on it. So since then, they have approval to hook into the water here as opposed to constructing a well. And same with lot 19, it has approval, for Board of Health approval, that to drill a well, so that was all Board of Health approved. But since this came up, Don said, well, we just tie into the water line. We have the water in the water system, I think this is only gonna use 330 gallons a day. I said it's a win-win for both the waters and the client to do such a thing. And Don will go into it, so I gave it a little bit. What I try to do is, if you can see it here, this is without all the stuff on this, is just the plain lots. So this is lot 19 and lot 20. So what we're proposing to do is, when we tie in to lot 20, at the same time, run the line onto lot 19, giving an easement through lot 20 to lot 19, and he can do that since he owns both lots. And it would only be a 15-foot easement on the property lot 20. You wouldn't go into Gay Road right away. Wouldn't need to. So we can run it right across, you can run right across the road with both lines at the same time. So you don't have to disrupt the road. You just do a tunnel boring under the road and come out the other side with the two lines, or one line and then split it. So it's pretty straightforward.
Stop would be out here, and this lists where the curb stop would be. And so from that point on, there would be two curb stops. One would go to this particular lot, to the one in the back, and one on lot 20. Now there's some, what I've indicated in my letter to you is that, you know, we see clear advantages to everybody in doing this. Number one, you have another user. Joe has been speaking to the village, the village, I guess, superintendent of public works, Peter, I hope I can say this correctly, Gala, I'm sorry, I said that correctly, but anyway. She's been speaking to him. He said that there's capacity, there's no problem with capacity. we would do this, and the advantages here. One of the problems that I indicated in my letter is that going into the back here, there is an edge of the wetland shown on this map here. But, and in one of the documents that I submitted, it shows that the approved plans call for the well to be with, not just within the 100-foot buffer, but actually within the wetlands. And so they would, the approved plans, if they went ahead with what they have approved, they would be disrupting the wetlands, having a 20-foot wide area of disturbance all the way through into the wetlands, and then building and having a permanent well within the wetland area, within the buffer, the 100-foot buffer. All of that area is disturbed. They try to keep those clear, and instead, we're just saying we just put an underground service line. That's the responsibility of the building of the owners. We can clearly define the rights and responsibilities between the owners in an easy. We offer that the town attorney could look at it, make sure that it is binding and appropriate. And this way we come, so what are the advantages? If you're gonna get somebody new in, so somebody else who's contributing without having any impact on the water district, so everybody with the, you know, the cost then could be shared by one more user. There usually is some sort of connection charge. We would take care of the line going under the road. This particular lot number 20 has the right to go under the road and ask for connection. They're gonna do it anyway. So, but it would be not disturb the pavement, because I think Joe spoke to
Direct
Peter,
moving,
I'm sorry,
direct tunneling under the road.
direct tunneling under the road. So this has been thought through, these details. And so by doing all of this, what we've done, we've been sensitive to the environment. There'd be some additional funds. You have another entity that would be paying any of the capital charges that are in the regular annual town bill for the capital charges for paying down any bonds of the association of the water district. And the water district, I sent you, and I picked no pride of authorship on that. I said that I had a sample one. We didn't discuss any of that, so I took a sample one. I put Town of Northeast in it and showed you one with blanks in it all over the place as to what kind of charges there are for each of these items. And we can, my client is open to discussing. He just hopes that it's a reasonable charge for doing it. But now you have somebody else who's paying for something that others are. We expect again that and the water is not costing any more to produce. It's well within the numbers. I showed you the numbers in my submission. And then finally, it's important that you know that the New York State Smart Growth public infrastructure policy is to use where possible available public infrastructure. And so you have it right here. It's not going to cost the district. It's going to actually benefit the taxpayers in the district. And you can have another user with it, and it's perfectly permissible to do it. I spoke with the town attorney today, and he said he's done them himself. And I presented the proposed form of an out-of-district water service agreement. So we're just hopeful that you will look favorably upon this. If you have any questions, you know how to reach us. You have our number. We would be glad to discuss it, but we want the opportunity to show you what we have and why we think that this is a good project for everybody. Everybody wins on this. I don't see where there is a negative aspect to this at all.
Mhm. Thank you very much. I appreciate your coming out and sharing your thoughts about this project with us. I guess a question which I have and maybe other members of the board have is concerns the easement. These two properties are owned by the same entity at the moment, but there's nothing that says that they will continue to be down the road. And there will be an easement across, is it 20? I don't have it in front of me, but I think it's
Correct.
Yeah,
Left wing.
Lot 20, yes.
20 to get to 19. When, and down the road, I think it's, our experience is that properties, get sold and people have them. What constraints does this put on the owners of property 19 in terms of that easement?
Well, it's really the concern of the lot is the servient estate. The dominant estate would be 19 going across 20.
Right.
So across lot 20, we just need to make sure that it is perfectly clear. It's way out toward the road, but not within the road right of way, that there is this underground line, and they take subject to that no more than a utility line underground or above ground. They're typical easements used all of the time. They've been for centuries been used and accepted forms, and it would be deeded, and the terms of that easement would be something, as I said at the beginning of this, that the town attorney would be able to try to make sure that you're all satisfied as to the restrictions and the how clear it is in record title. So when someone purchases property these days, just about everybody gets title insurance. They do a title search. They will see the easement, just like they see the New York State Electric and Gas easement, and they see any of the others. They will see this easement, and it will be underground. And the only opportunity would be that someone, if there was a problem with the service line to lot 19, somewhere within lot 20, then the lot 19 at their own cost and expense would have the right to correct the problem and restore the property to the condition it was before. And with that caveat, I think that that would cover it. And it's done regularly, the things of this nature. And we see that this is not an issue at all, because this has nothing to do with the water district, in the sense that if there's a problem with a leak in that line or something wrong, there's a curb stop and they turn it off, and there won't be anything further going on until that's fixed. And the owner of lot 19 will have to resolve that, just like the owner of lot number 20. If anything happens on there, they'll have to take care of it themselves. So,
I guess the question I'm trying to figure out is what if the owner of lot 20 wants to put in a swimming pool in the backyard and there's a water line running across?
so it's not, well, we're in the front yard, we're all the way down along the street. That the location of this is as out of the way as you can, and unuseful to the property owner of lot number 20 as can be. It is all along. That line is right there, just outside the road right of way. So no
Right.
one put the swimming pool next to the road.
Right, okay.
I have a question. Chris?
Yes, go ahead.
Hi. Do you have plans to build right now on both? Are there house plans
Well,
for a certain date?
That's what he would like to build on it, this, and
He has approval for a 3-bedroom home.
On each
Everything is done only up to 3 bedrooms. Can't be larger than that. And he has a footprint of it, and he wants to go forward with this, but he wants to resolve the water problem first. But certainly it's going to be something that's going to be consistent with the neighborhood.
So that's on lot 19,
Lot 19.
already the house plan, but not 20.
he would like to build both.
Both?
No, he
Yeah.
wants to do
That's
both.
what he wants to
yes.
do both, but have all this resolved.
year.
He would like to have all this resolved before he gets a building permit, so that he can provide the easements if it's all approved and get all the information and get all the documents filed and cleaned up
Yeah,
before he starts building.
he needs to resolve the issues with 19 before he builds on 20, because he may need to reserve an easement across lot 20. So that purchaser is aware that this line is out by the road going through the property. Okay.
Are there any other questions from the board? Warren, do you have any, you've reviewed this and this is something that could be done? Does get done in other places?
I don't, I read the opinion of our assessor. I'm not sure I agree with that opinion.
Yeah.
It would be an out of district user agreement. It's done all the time. The lot 20 would be burdened by that easement. And the easement would also provide that nothing could be done on lot 20 that's going to interfere with that easement, so you couldn't build anything over that. We'll review all that.
Yeah.
Issue will be determining what the charge would be to lot 19 for the out of district use, and that we'll have to take up probably with the engineers and the village and figure out what the.
Yeah, one of the unknowns for me is simply, I know that this is a joint district with the village and the town. And we're coming to the town first. We believe we probably will be making, I called the village attorney just to talk with her about it. She hasn't returned my call yet, but it was a late call. I have my entire family over for Christmas, so I was recovering from a cold too, but thankfully it was only a cold. So I didn't call her until the other day, and I expect a call back, and we can discuss the logistics of having to deal with the approval by the village as well. But again, we see this as a way of reducing the ratepayers' cost.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
If there are no other questions from the board, I would like to thank you very much for coming out and presenting to the board.
Thank you for listening to us.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. I think with that, we've done the ADU. We've done the 284 agreement. I think the next item is public comment. And if there are any members of the public who would like to comment to the board, now is your opportunity to do that. We will welcome it. If you just please give your name and address, and look forward to hearing your comments.
Yes, there's Chris Drago.
Yeah. Excuse me?
Chris Drago.
Thank you.
Chris, I'm sorry I'm not there, but we welcome you.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize you were there. Sorry about that. I did, since you are here, and I don't know how much of my earlier comments you heard, I think I should mention that I reported on the meeting of the Supervisors and Mayors Association on Tuesday. We had Bill Beal and a whole crew from emergency services, including the 911 coordinator, come out and speak to the supervisors about the initial rollout of EMS, these additional EMS capabilities. And I mentioned earlier the burden that is the town of Northeast is shouldering. I mentioned it there, and I've had communication with Acting Commissioner Beal since then. Certainly going to be spending a lot of time focusing on what the county can help us with, because with the town having to put $511,000 in our budget for EMS services, 13% of our budget, it is a huge, huge load. And I think it is probably the highest cost of any town in Dutchess County on a per capita basis for EMS services. I could be wrong, but I'd be surprised. Anyway, I also mentioned local law number 2 of last year, the having to do with locating wells and so on with hazardous materials near those. So I just wanted to let you know what I talked about before you got here.
Thank you, and thank you for having me speak. Happy New Year, everyone. I wanted to come and it's the beginning of the year and just give some updates on what's going on with the county. And going back to end of last year, we starting in November had a series of meetings about the 2025 budget. And that included presentations from the county executive, presentations by each of the commissioners about what their recommendation was for their portion of the budget for this year. We had a chance to comment and ask questions. There was a public hearing, and then we had an opportunity to also offer some amendments. And so the county budget is now $627 million, which is up from just over 600 million the year before. A lot of that are grants that come from the federal government and the state government. So I just wanted to highlight a few things in the budget. Just talking about emergency service, $2 million is going toward supplemental EMS coverage, which Supervisor Finnis just spoke about. This is a stopgap measure. This is not a long-term solution. And in the presentations on this portion of the budget, I was very critical of that department for not moving fast enough. There are county studies that go back to 2017. There's another one in 2021. And it just feels like we've been admiring this problem for way too long. And while $2 million for supplemental is a step in the right direction, it's not addressing the core issue of the burden that is being shouldered by your town and other towns across Dutchess County. $8.5 million is being spent by municipalities on private EMS service. And it's all being done fairly on an individual basis. Northeast is unique where you've teamed up with a couple of other towns to try to have some economies of scale, but that's not necessarily the case in other parts of the county. So there is a better way of doing this. We actually know what the better way is. And I'm pressuring the county executive to move faster. I got her commitment that she would provide regular updates and that if there is an opportunity to move faster and if that requires spending more money this year, that she will come back to the legislature to make that recommendation. We've found it a bit frustrating that our commissioner of EMS resigned last year. His deputy just resigned recently. And so now there's Mr. Beal, who has now stepped in while we look for a new full-time commissioner of EMS. And my understanding is that search is still going on. But as something as important as EMS, I'm frustrated that we can't keep the good people that we have working on this part of our county's business. So anyway, step in the right direction, more to be done. I'm keeping the pressure on, and I get it, and I hear you. And it's not just Northeast, and I'm going to continue to do everything I can to put pressure on the right areas to get us a solution faster. Other updates on mental health is something that I've been advocating for since the beginning of last year. There's been a stakeholders group that I helped organize. Members of the Northeast Community Center, Jessica Raymond and Christine Sargent were part of that to talk about the lack of mental health resource in Northern Dutchess County, and that if someone is in need, especially a youth, driving 50 minutes to Poughkeepsie is just not acceptable. And so I'm pleased to report that there will be a new mental health center in Rhinebeck, and they're looking for a location for that right now. Still a little far from where we are, but I think a little closer, than having to go to Poughkeepsie. And that'll service adults and youth. So, I'm gonna keep an eye on what that really means, but based on what I'm hearing, again, a good step in the right direction, certainly more to be done now. And the others are on Cornell Cooperative Extension. I'm the legislative representative on the board of the extension. I just remember as a kid how great the extension was. And when I joined the board, learned that, the extension's going through some hard times, and it's been going through some hard times for many years. There's a new executive director who's been making some really tough decisions and trying to right the ship, and she's getting there. But the way that the county's been funding the extension for the last 10+ years is different than most other counties in New York State. Which means that the extension hasn't been getting matching funds from the state to help with administrative and strategic planning and that sort of thing. So after a year of lobbying and working and educating the county executive and the planning commissioner, they understood that we weren't actually looking for more money. We were looking for it in a different way as an appropriation, which would then qualify the extension for these matching funds. So I'm pleased to report that we were able to get a $300,000 appropriation, which will mean about $70,000 of matching funds from the state to help the extension get back on sure footing. I don't know if you know that Taste of New York Todd Hill, that market in the middle of the Taconic, is operated by Ag and Markets and Cornell Cooperative Extension, and features a lot of local goods and things from our area. There are new bathrooms that have just been installed there, so that is a highlight there. And then the final one is just on ADUs. I think you've already talked about ADUs. Meg and I have been working on this for quite some time. And when we found out that the county was not going to be applying on behalf of multiple municipalities, after some discussions with Hudson River Housing, we were happy that they came through and are going to be picking that up. And the support letters are due tomorrow.
And we just went through it, and
Super.
the board gave and approved him sending a letter out.
Excellent, that's great.
Yeah.
So this is huge, this is up to $125,000 per household. And for middle and low income folks, and I think it's, we're in an affordability crisis across all of Dutchess County, it's just too expensive to live here. And I think this is a great step in the right direction to help with that. But absolutely more that can be done, but we can take advantage of this while we have this opportunity. The last thing I just want to say is warming centers. The county's not doing a very good job of advertising warming centers, and if you go onto the website, there's nothing on there about where warming centers are. So this is something that I actually talked to the chair of the legislature just a few hours ago about this. He had raised this with the county executive before the holidays. It's still not on the website, so he's going to follow back up with her tomorrow, her office, to see what can be done about getting warming centers on their website. Which, when you look at it, there isn't going to be much in the northern part of the county. It's more so in the more populated parts of the county, which is unfortunate. But at least getting up what we have is a priority.
And Chris, I think we might have two approved here.
Oh,
I'm
great.
not sure if the American Legion and the library, but that was just hearsay, so
Okay,
we can follow up here about that.
great.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Because it's not advertised either.
Got it. Okay, good. I think I'll leave it there for now. As I said, I really enjoy coming to your meetings, and I'll try to providing updates when I can. I just came from the town of Stanford board meeting, which is why I was a little bit late. But other times there are just other conflicts on this at this time, but I'll come when I can, and I'm always accessible. Call me, email me, find me on social media. I'm happy to answer questions whenever possible.
Two questions for you, Chris.
Yeah.
One is there a job description for the EMS commissioner?
Yes, yep, I can get that to you.
Okay, that would be great. Obviously, now that we're on to the third tier of people with this, it's something that's important for us, and hopefully we find somebody who's really a change maker and can get things done.
Agree. We need thinking.
On the warming centers, we do have the American Legion, which has offered to be a warming center. It involves somebody from the Legion going down there and spending the night there if we ever have a situation where they are needed to open up. I think a couple of years ago, we did have, when it was particularly brutally cold, we did have some people who went down to the Legion. And I think Bob Jenks went down and spent the night there just to be on site. So it's not an ideal solution because it does require somebody to staff it. But it is there.
Right, good to know.
I think that's all I have. Any other member of the board have questions for Chris?
Chris, can you
If-
talk a little bit more specifically about that EMS
Mhm.
program?
Yeah, so it's $2 million for county-sponsored fly cars and ambulances in parts of the county that, based on data, have longer response times. So there's one, I believe, in the northwest corner of the county and one in the southern part of the county. And they're meant to supplement existing service. So it's not meant to replace. So it's because each town not only calls on themselves, but they rely on each other for mutual aid, so that so depending on availability, if the fly car is in a place where they can get to that person faster than, say, that town, then that's when that fly car is going to be deployed. So this effort launched on January 1st. There have already been 58 calls for the county service across a multiple, whole host of towns, not just the town where those fly cars happen to be sitting. So, I think it's the kind of thing that I think hopefully most towns will get the benefit of, and ultimately it'll get people to the hospital faster. And then I think buy the county some time to learn about how does this work, what's working, what's not working in this model. The other thing that does need to happen is that right now, EMS is not considered an essential service in New York State. So, which is incredible.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's hard to
it
believe.
is hard to believe. So, I, along with every other member of the legislature, just signed a letter that went to Albany that encouraged them to pass a law that I think made it through the Senate, but not the Assembly, I believe, that makes EMS an essential service. Once that happens, then that means that there's money available at the county and municipality level to take the next step. I don't think, this administration spent $25 million on improvements on minor league baseball stadium a few years ago. I wish they would treat EMS as important as something like that. Because I don't think we just have to wait for New York State to come through with money. There are things that we could be doing now to move faster, but that'll certainly help. And in the meantime, this $2 million is meant to be stopgap. There's some education as well in that $2 million to educate people on when they should be calling 911 and then when they shouldn't. Because a lot of times people are calling 911 and clogging the system for things that really aren't emergencies. So there will be some education this year as part of that.
Thanks. They consider fire as emergency.
I think fire is considered an essential service, yes. But
Yes.
EMS is separate from that and is not. So town, like,
Doesn't make any
it
sense.
doesn't, like, towns and the fire department aren't obligated to even have EMS. But everyone, sort of, that's the right thing to have it.
Yeah, that is a point that I've made to people, which is that the town could just say, we're not going to do this. Call Uber or call a cab if you need to go to the hospital. The town is not about to do that. This town believes that we need to be able to take care of our residents, and we are paying a huge price for that ability. Anyway, Chris, thank you very much for coming out and joining us. I really appreciate that our county legislature is coming to our meetings and letting us know what the county is up to. I mentioned that I did talk a little bit about County Law number 2 of 2024, And maybe at a future meeting, you can tell us what's going on with that. We don't have to get into it tonight. It's somewhat complicated, but I know it's a long rollout on this.
Chris, there was an email that went out today from Anthony Ruggiero from the Board of Health that had an update, Chris. So if you haven't seen that, I'd suggest checking that out.
Okay. Great. Anyway, Chris, thank you very much. We really appreciate your coming out. Any other public comment? I'm not hearing any or seeing any, but let me know if I'm missing anybody.
Nope.
Okay. Then we're going to go into the supervisor's report. We have a budget adjustment. Budget adjustment number 12 for 2024. A expense increase of $3,155 and an expense decrease of $3,155 in A fund. B fund, we have an expense increase of $43,316, less an expense decrease of $1,571, less a revenue increase of $41,745 for a net of zero. In DB fund, which is the highway town outside of village fund, we have an expense increase of $41,745, less a revenue increase of $41,745. Could I ask for a motion to approve the budget adjustment number 12 of 2024?
I'll move.
Second. Go ahead.
Second.
Okay. Billy, could you conduct the roll call on that?
Yeah. Councilwoman Morrison,
Aye.
Councilman Fidelli,
Aye.
Councilwoman Winkler,
Aye.
Councilman Mayville.
Aye.
Thank you. I have a special abstract dated December 20th, 2024, totaling $1,464.60, broken down as follows. A fund, $1,464.60. Could I ask for a motion to accept the special abstract?
I move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and I know that Lorna has the document to pass around for your signatures. I have an abstract dated December 31, 2024, totaling $82,613.47, broken down as follows. A fund, $15,534.82. B fund, $2,081.40. DB fund, $64,997.25. Could I ask for a motion to approve that abstract?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Who made that motion?
Chris.
Chris Mayville and then Lana Morrison.
Okay, thank you. And just want you to know that I'm on the ball here. And then I have an abstract dated January 9th, 2025, totaling $52,469, broken down as follows. A fund, $51,662.02. B fund, $530. Payroll TNA, $276.98. Could I ask for a motion to approve the abstract?
So moved.
Second.
Who was that?
Lana and Chris.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Um, the voucher committee for February of 2025 is Lana Morrison and Chris Mayville. And just while we're on that, I just want to point out to everybody that is there tonight how much I appreciate the work of town board members in signing vouchers. And for those who don't know exactly what vouchers are, vouchers accompany every single bill that the town of Northeast gets and is approved for payment. And every single bill is reviewed by a majority of the town board. It has to have 3 signatures on that to be approved. And it's quite time consuming. And bigger towns have comptrollers who do that, and the board members don't have to do that. Anyway, I just want to say thank you to all of you for doing that. I believe that there are 2 sets of minutes that town clerk has presented to you for December 12th, 2024 and December 23rd, 2024. Is that correct, Tilly?
Yes.
With that, if there are any amendments or corrections to those minutes, please let me know or let us know. And I would ask for a motion to approve the minutes of December 12th and December 23rd of last year.
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you very much. With that, I think we've reached the end of our regular meeting. I would like to ask for and I probably should have said this in the amendment of the agenda, but I would like to ask for an executive committee meeting with our attorney for the purpose of discussing potential litigation against the town. And I would ask for, I think the first thing we need to do is to ask for a motion to enter into an executive session.
So move.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, with that, I'm going to, I will turn off the recording on this machine and we'll wait till you are to let me know that you're in executive session.
Thank you.